I am currently teaching here in Thailand, and if God will grant me to obtain J1 visa and I need to go home, is it a must to teach in home country or? Okay, so when you're done with the J1 visa program and then it's time for you to comply with the 2-year home residency requirement, you don't have to go back to your home country to teach. You have two options. Because the requirement is this: you either serve the 2-year in your home country or in the country where you obtained your J1 visa. So for you, Ja, you're a Filipino, right? So you can serve the 2-year home residency requirement in the Philippines. But since you will be obtaining your J1 visa in Thailand, you can also serve your 2-year home residency requirement in Thailand. So for instance, if you are currently working in South Korea and that's where you obtained your visa, then you can either serve your 2 years in the Philippines or in South Korea. So I got this question before. Suppose you are currently in the US as a tourist. You're on a tourist visa, right? Can you apply for J1 visa while you are in the US? Well, no. Okay. So to get a J1 visa, you have to be outside of the United States. As you process your J1 visa, you should not be residing in the US because, yeah, that's the requirement. Okay. So because, when you, like I said earlier, imagine if you obtain your J1 visa while you are in the US, therefore you will serve in the US, right? You have an option to serve your 2-year in the US. That's why they're not allowing it. So you have to leave the US first before you can apply for your J1 visa. Because also somebody asked me, because he said he has a tourist visa, and tourist visa usually valid for 10 years. So he was planning to go to the US and then while in the US look for a job. No, you can't do that. That's not legal. A tourist visa is a non-working visa. So you should not be working or earning in the US while on a tourist visa. That is a visa violation. Do you guys have any more questions for me? Oh, that's your... Okay, yeah, most schools offer J1 visa, but there are a lot of schools also that are offering H1B visa. So I already shared on my YouTube channel how you can look for H1B visa sponsors. Yeah, true, Mabini. H1B has, the requirements more fuzzy. They have language certificate requirements. You have to settle things with POEA, But the good thing about H1B is it doesn't have the 2-year home residency requirement. So for H1B, by the end of your program, which is at the 6th year, you can apply for green card. Yeah, your sister can travel with you, but she will first obtain a tourist visa. For a tourist visa, it doesn't matter whether you're a college graduate or not, okay? So again, your sister can travel with you, but she has to obtain her tourist visa first. By the way, guys, J2 visa is only for your spouse, okay? You should be legally married to that person because you have to turn in your marriage certificate, or your children, okay? Your children, if they will be your J2 dependent, they should be under 21 years old and they should not be married. Okay, guys, working at a public school is not a requirement. So when you after completing your J1 visa program, you don't have to go back to the old school or the former school you were working in. For one, I never worked in DepEd. Okay, I never worked in DepEd. So it's not a requirement. If you go back to the Philippines or whatever country you're going back to, you don't have to work in a public school. You don't have to go back to the same school. After the J1 visa program, do we really need to teach for 2 years in our country? Or is it okay for the first year we have to get some rest first, then apply for a teaching position in the second year? So yeah, and okay, the 2-year home residency requirement is, I'm sorry, I blocked out. I'm sorry, I blocked out. Okay, let me do this again. Okay, so serving the 2 years means you have to be physically present in your country for 2 years. Accumulated. So meaning as long as your total stay in the country is for 2 years, then you are eligible to go back to the US, right? Because you already served the 2 years. So what do I mean by that? Either because on your first year, say you decided you want to go outside of the Philippines or outside of your country for 6 months. So therefore, you have to cover that 6 months, right? So instead, for instance, in my case, so I came home to the Philippines in 2022, and I stayed here physically straight, right? So I will be eligible right away because by next year, around May, I will already have stayed in the Philippines physically for 24 months. They will see that they can compute that in your passport because they will require you to show your passport, the stamped pages and the blank pages of your passport, okay? So, in my case, when I came back to the Philippines, I rested. I did not teach right away, okay? So, it's really up to you. If you have no plans on going back to the US right away, you don't have to go back to teaching, right? You only need to go back to teaching if you want to apply again going back to the US. Because it's a requirement, if you're applying, you should be currently teaching full-time, right, as a teacher. So if it's not, like for me, I was not working until, like I only worked as a teacher again in February of 2023, this year. So meaning, starting from June of 2022 until December 2022, December 2022. I'm so sorry, maybe because I'm already hungry. So from June 2022 until December 2022, I wasn't working, I wasn't teaching, okay? I only started teaching February 2023 because I want to go back to the US and it's a requirement. I have to be a full-time teacher when I apply. Okay, I said it.